the tie. Chelsea win 4-1 on aggregate and are through to the quarter-finals for the 10th time in their history. It has been a period of huge success for Chelsea. Will it continue in the future? All that remains to be decided. Here's the match stats on the night. Chelsea shading it in terms of possession. Crucially, attempts on target as well. Lille only with one attempt on target. They had a go, but they really didn't carry a cutting edge. Maybe in both legs you could say that. They had only 2 shots on target in the first leg, so 3 in all over the 2 legs. Not going to do it for them. Is that really the story of the tie, difference in quality between the two sides, Brian?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Lille are a kind of a club that had an extraordinary league win last year to win the league ahead of PSG, but then they sell on...
Lost their manager as well, didn't they?
Lost the manager and sell on some key players as well. So they wouldn't be at the same level as Chelsea in terms of retaining their squad. And just hadn't got that quality in the front position. David had a very tame time, I thought. Jonathan David, the Canadian forward. Bamba was quiet enough. Yilmaz he's a bit of a battering ram and had a couple of chances and took the penalty very, very well. But they as Richard said earlier, I think if Chelsea needed to turn her up a bit more, they could have. They got the goal almost unexpectedly just before half-time, but I did expect them to up the pace in the second half and get a goal anyway, and ultimately they did that and controlled it from there to the end, handy enough.
Yeah, the point you were making, Richard, was that, you know, when Lille got ahead, Chelsea kind of roused themselves and went and got themselves back into the game. But let's look at the moment when Lille did get the penalty in that first half, and we thought, hang on, we got a game on here.
Yeah, and it was Chalobah who just come on a couple of minutes beforehand, gets turned inside out, and luckily gets the free kick, he thought, before he got into the penalty area. But he just never got cleared of the ball that came into the box. There was a bit of knocking around, and it was a strange one because the game seemed to continue for a little bit of time, and you don't often see the referee just stop it mid-game and go back. But
presumably unsighted, maybe the ref.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of bodies in there, and it's a quick one. But there was big appeals from the Lille players, and I think when you do see it on the VAR, it looks like a penalty. I think Jorginho brings his hand down quickly to try and block it, and Ramos' penalty is fantastic. It's full of confidence, and you think it's game on then, but like you said, Chelsea had another level to go within them.
And crucially, Brian, you talked before the game about how Chelsea used the wing-backs, in this case Alonso and Azpilicueta, in a really positive attacking sense. That hadn't been the case really before the penalty, and then they said, right, up you go and make things happen for us.
Yeah, there was a bit of decisive action to get them up the pitch. And you see, I mean, Azpilicueta's up there, but the amount of space Jorginho gets is just amazing to play the ball. And then the 2 defensive players just run out and leave Pulisic. Initially, one of them, Andre, is marking him, and he just lets him go. You see the two players at one time run out, create the hole for him. Jorginho plays beautiful little ball, lovely pace on it, and the accuracy of that finish is really admirable. And that's where the top players now, you see them so often hitting that area into the side netting just inside the post. And that's no fluke, because that's what they practice doing consistently. But the timing of the goal, I think, knocked the stuffing out of Lille a little bit.
Right before half-time. I mean, you've been a manager, obviously, as we know. I'm sure that's happened to you. And you to tear up the half-time
any team, when you're ahead coming to half-time, particularly when you're a bit of an underdog, you want to get in at half-time and regroup and say, look, that's a great first half. Now this is what we've got to do in the second half. But instead, the rug is pulled from under you, and you've got to change the whole team talk. But you'd like him to give that team talk with 5 minutes to go before half-time and say, don't lose it. Do whatever we have to now to play out those last couple of minutes. But they weren't good enough. Bad decisions, not used to playing at that tempo, leaving the space. That's at the level they're at. These decisions are the difference. They're fine lines, and they just, that's the reason they're playing for Lille and they're not playing for Chelsea.
Yeah. And what do you do as a manager when that happens? Do you just throw out everything you were about to say?
Well, you do a bit of coursing on your way into the dressing room to yourself, and then you go in and you have to let it go and work in the situation you're in, which is your level, and you're back to, we need to get 2 goals again, and you look for positive things and try to correct some of the negative things. There wasn't much negative about how Lille had played up until that point in the match, but unfortunately they end up going in 1-1, where they'd have been delighted to get in a goal ahead. But there you go. Man can only do so much with the quality of the squad he has, and he used them well up until that point, until vital mistakes are made, I said, on the decision-making, the 2 players that ran out.
Yeah. And such fine moments are games decided. Having said that, I wondered, did he say, like, keep it going, lads, you're doing all right? Because they came out in the second half. We're going to see a few chances that they had, all headers, I think, if I'm not mistaken. One of these goes in, and some of them should have gone in, Richard.
Yeah, they seem to work it down that right-hand side, thinking that's where they could exploit, and they've delivered a couple of good balls. Great feat here by Bamba to twist up Alonso. And Yilmaz gets on the end of this one. This is the best chance.
This is the one, isn't it?
Clearly, with Yilmaz crossing it in. Chelsea's marking's non-existent. And that has to go in for Lille to have any real chance. But we've seen they just don't score enough goals. I think they've got 37 goals in their league this season, so it's not enough in terms of that. And when you get opportunities like that, you have to take it, because bigger teams will punish them. And
when Chelsea go to do the video session tomorrow, will they be looking at what happened there, lads, with the marking in that situation? Yeah, I think as well, with Yilmaz being outside and crossing the ball in, they've probably expected one of the centre-halves to be marking him in the box, and when he's not there, you think, well, who am I supposed to be marking? And it was Xhaka who came in, unmarked, seemed to give a shout to David, who ducked, and he got a clear head on it 7 or 8 yards out. I think from a Chelsea point of view, there's certainly one that they got away with, and you can't give those chances up if you're going to win the competition the further they go in. But tonight it didn't matter so yeah, because you imagine the next team that they play will have the quality to punish those kind of moments. The goal that wrapped up the tie, it was funny, we were watching the move that led to it, Brian, and you made the comment that this is the first time that they've got on the ball and actually got a bit of control in this game.
That's right. The whole second half, it was helter-skelter. There was injuries, there was fellas going down, substitutions. With this, they got real control of possession. Now, we speeded it up because there was so many passes in it. Jorginho was involved 4 times. They're switching it from side to side. And ultimately, when the ball is played out, it comes back out to Thiago here. And he plays the cross. Now, Alonso was up in that line of 5 we showed before the match. Mount reads the little flick on. There's the line of 4, and Azpilicueta is the 5th. And then he goes and knocks it into the net. Very clever run by... There they are. There's the line of 5 now, you see. And the 3 attacking players are in around the box. Mount is one crossing it. Azpilicueta beats way to the ball at the far post. Goes in off his knee. Usually gets 1 or 2 of them every Champions League season. But great play by Chelsea. Patient, good passing. And ultimately a little bit of class by Mount to read Alonso winning the flick on, and then the delivery of the ball.
So that takes us back to what we were talking about before the game, where you can only get those 5 up like that if you're in control of the ball, passing the ball in midfield, getting possession and getting the chance for the opposition to get up, or a chance for your wing-backs to get up and support the forward players. So that's key for Chelsea, isn't it, that dominance around midfield? Yeah, I think when you go from back to front really quickly, you're expecting your wing-backs to be back defending, helping you out that end. If you go forward in one straight ball, they can't make it up. So that's slower build-up. And we've seen it with the first goal as well. It spreads out the little defenders all over the pitch, and it creates the little gaps. And with the second goal, when the ball comes across, Mount and Alonso end up in a 2v1 situation. Because they've got the 5 players forward, they can start to overload, which disjoints the defence of Lille. And Azpilicueta is the one from the touchline making the sprint to get in there and try and the desire to go and score the goal was huge. Yeah, that was Chelsea at their best, that crucial goal.